It costs over almost 100,000 Canadian dollars. Mastercard Foundation scholarship was. Hello and welcome to the podcast. I have the pleasure of having Dr. Olumuyiwa Igbalajobi. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, welcome to the podcast. So, on this podcast, we will talk about, his experience, his story, coming from Nigeria to his experience studying across 3 continents, and is currently based here in Canada.
Thank you so much, Isaac, for having me. My name is Olumuyiwa Igbalajobi, and I have a PhD in microbiology from Karlsruhe Institute of Technology in Germany. Before then, I was on the South Korean government scholarship, which took me out of Nigeria in 2013. I haven't left home with $100 because I was running away from my home. I had my mom, wanted me to stay because I was 6 months away from my master's, while my dad wanted me to leave because, he had his PhD at the University of Oregon before I was born, a couple of years before.
Wow.
And, I took my destiny into my hands and I decided to fly 22 hours to Korea without the approval of my parents. The journey has been really amazing. I'd won over $1 million scholarship since then.
Yes.
And I came to Canada in 2020 because I got a postdoc offer at UBC, which gave me the opportunity to explore the Canadian system. And it was during COVID. It was at the very peak of COVID, and then I discovered that, okay, what can I do differently from working in the lab? And that was where I started posting scholarships on Twitter. Started with 411 followers, with over 500,000 followers today.
Wow,
And
congrats for those milestones, eh?
Thank you so much. And at Scholarships Cafe, we support every student to find and apply for scholarship, and we have active users from about 195 countries now. And so it's been an amazing journey through hard work, determination, resilience, and understanding that you can achieve anything as long as you put your mind at it. Yeah.
I'm inspired, and every day when I wake up, when I go on social media, I almost certainly see something that is inspiring from you.
Thank you.
Whether it's on LinkedIn or on Twitter, and you are very humble, and you have this desire to advocate for other people. Because for me, scholarship opportunity, the Mastercard Foundation scholarship, was something that empowered me to be able to financially start for a Master of Food and Resource Economics at the University of British Columbia. It costs over almost 100,000 Canadian dollars for just 1 year. So without that scholarship, my story would be different. So I really understand the impact of the work that you do. Now, there are a lot of things that I want to follow up there. You have won over 1 million, worth of scholarship. Do you want to tell us, what are the highlights? What has been the highlights of the work that you do? Because I see you profile some success stories. Do you want to tell us some statistics of the impact that you've done?
Yeah, it's been amazing. We've supported over 60,000 students.
Wow.
I mean, those are even the ones that came back. Almost every day people talk about, okay, I've been able to get a scholarship because of Dr. Olumuyiwa's post a couple of years ago, and then some people even have a conversation with me like 4 years ago. I started following you. I won a scholarship in the UK. I'm now in the US. For us, for me, it's a very personal journey that. I mean, what I live for every day is to see those success stories. Like yesterday, someone just told me she just arrived in South Korea on the KDI scholarship. In fact, I contributed to our flight ticket as well. That was our second attempt to applying for that scholarship. And we had someone that just arrived in Sweden. We had someone just arrived in Finland. And over 50 students from our community arrived in the US this semester. So it's quite a whole lot that we do to ensure that nobody has, that excuse to say, I do not get scholarship. And, at Scholarships Cafe, our mission is to ensure that by 2030, every talented student have equal access to scholarship opportunities and resources.
Fantastic. It's very personal to me. And I'm very pleased to see, I think there's this statement that sometimes how you make other people feel, you're saying like after 4 years, someone still thinks
Yeah,
like, oh,
exactly.
this person contributed to my life. So that impact is very life-changing. Remember, when someone gets, quality education, what that means,
Exactly.
opportunities are
Yeah,
unlimited.
financial freedom. And then, I mean, I got a message from someone that said he's been applying for scholarship for 2 years until he came across my profile. And he just want me to know that I've changed his generation forever. And I was like, wow, okay.
It is.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
someone gave me this opportunity 11 years ago
Yes.
by mirroring sharing a link of 2 scholarships with me, and there was no platform like Scholarships Cafe there.
Yes.
And I did things and I got this opportunity, and I just feel like because I have been able to actually secure those opportunities, how can I help other
Yes.
people to instill that education is not a scam? And so, like, getting those. I mean, yesterday someone said, "Oh, Doc, I got so many congratulations today. I'm just tired of receiving congratulations. I don't know this is how scholarship is sweet." And I was like, yeah, that is the reality. So
Yes.
it's a reward for academic excellence. It helps you to also, make impact on yourself, on your community, on your family, on your generation unborn. Just like you mentioned at
Yes.
UBC. I mean, UBC is one of the top 37 universities in the world. And for
Yes.
someone like me, my undergraduate education was in a university that was not even in the top 10,000 universities in
Yes.
the world. And this is me that I came to UBC as a postdoc, and I'm still an instructor at UBC, imparting knowledge to the next generation of scientists.
This is wonderful. Now, some viewers might want to know, like specifically, how do you support, students to get scholarship? What are there like specific things that you do? I'm aware of the work that you do, but for
For
the
sure.
benefit of the
Yeah, I
audience.
think thank you so much. I think the first thing we do is basically to get the information out there.
Yes.
We solve 3 problems at Scholarships Cafe. 1 in 20 or 1 in 50 of our students have 3 major problems: lack of access. In fact, it's quite a big deal for me in Canada. That's less than 16% of Canadian-born Black kids can actually afford post-secondary education,
Yes.
according to Stats Canada. And then we have to like solve the problem of knowledge gap. Over $200 million worth of scholarships are left unclaimed every year. And this is Canada, where you have about 1.7 million students owing student loan, about 20, I think $22 billion. And
Yes.
then in the support part, 1 in 2 of every student we've spoken with, they don't even know how to start a journey at all.
Yes.
So at Scholarships Cafe, so we are an AI driven platform, a tech that we not only help you to find scholarship, the platform also empowers you to apply for scholarships. How do we empower you to apply for scholarship? We have an AI tool which is still in the in the offering, which if you would upload your CV, it would help you to kind of scrutinize it properly, just like everybody talk about my CV out there. So we're trying to create a platform where it's already almost at the completion stage, so that you can upload your CV or you can type your CV right from scratch. Because we all we have now is resume, and resume is quite different from academic CV. So we also have consulting packages, could be one-on-one, could be master classes, could be personalized, that we can work with you for 6 months. We just want to ensure that you're not left alone. And I don't want you to go through the stress I went through 11 years ago. And that is why at Scholarships Cafe, we want to be part of your success story all through the way. But disclaimer, we don't apply for scholarships for people. We
Yes.
want to ensure that we empower people that will get to grad school and would be very grateful that we supported them, and they can own their success story as well. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, somebody might be saying, well, I am actually in this part of the world, because I understand like the packages, some of them, like it costs money, and I run my own consulting business, and I understand the operational costs, of course. They would say, and I know you also give scholarships, and I've seen sometimes you get paid from your content and you donate all the money, right? So you are the kind of a person who is giving back more to the community than you are taking. But someone might say, oh, I don't even have the $20 to apply for this scholarship. What can you say about that? Are there any avenues that you have at Scholarship Cafe or in your experience in terms of resources that you could potentially point those candidates?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have over 100,000 tweets on scholarships, since the last 4 years. And I tell people, the operational cost, the web application itself costs us about $40,000. And,
Yes,
you're trying to improve it every time costing, and I have a team of 12 I pay monthly as well. So,
yes,
like, so
business.
yeah, it's business. And, YouTube yesterday, I took 43 minutes out of my time to record how to apply for scholarship. So I tell people you don't even need a validation from me to say you can apply for scholarship.
Yes,
But we're saying that if you need an accountability platform, we're saying that what we offer is still within the affordability of the community.
yes,
I've had instances with investors in Canada. I made mention of this a couple of days ago. They said what we offer at Scholarships Cafe is too cheap. And
yes,
so compared to other platforms that I don't want to mention their names,
yes,
Scholarships
for sure.
Cafe is still like more like social impact driven. And
Yes,
I would want to say that almost every day we engage an average of 500,000 followers across the platform, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. And so you don't even have the excuse to say,
yeah,
oh, these people are offering this kind of packages that I cannot afford it. You
yeah,
can as well, think about sitting down on your own, digest all this. I have over 62 videos on YouTube. Like it is
yes,
pace. But if
yes.
you now think like you're busy or you still feel like you need support or you want an accountability platform, and that is where Scholarships Cafe comes in.
And I will be honest with you in that regard because I will tell you my story in brief. Like when I finished my first degree, my bachelor's degree in economics at the University of Zimbabwe, I always wanted to study abroad. So I had to divert whatever extra resources that I had, because in economics, there's trade-off. If you go and drink beer, and I'm not saying it's something that is bad. It means you are possibly taking resources from somewhere. So I
Correct.
prioritized that every cent that I got, I would go on an internet cafe, research, because there was no, WhatsApp at that time. It was not really popular. Internet access to internet in Zimbabwe was very much limited. It was very expensive.
Right.
So I say this to to the audience to say sometimes you don't have to always give excuses. Number one,
Exactly.
everything that is good, that is value, there's some cost to it,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So now the question is it something that you think there's a good return on investment? So if you think if you invest $50 on, this package, and I'm not necessarily saying you should go to Scholarship Cafe as such, but if you think that this would potentially change your life, open up maybe 100,000, 400,000 worth of scholarship. You compare and you see, because
Right.
everything good in life, you have to, I mean, there's some cost to it. Even
Definitely.
not doing anything, there's a cost
There's
to
a
it.
cost to it. Yeah, for us, I mean, I think one thing people should understand, and this is part of the things that made me to win the last community pitch in Calgary.
Yes,
Compared to our competitors, we do not even have a firewall on the website. So
yes,
you can decide to use the website without even creating an account. And then if you
yes,
create an account, you can subscribe for positions, scholarship alerts that get delivered into your inbox without paying a dime.
yes,
So now for people that engages us for our masterclass that we do every other month,
yes,
the last one we did in August was less than $50. I think
yes,
it was in US dollars, it was 25 US dollars.
yes,
And then you have access to 168 slides.
yes,
And then it's about 12 hours within 3 days. And
yes,
after that 3 day event, we onboard you to a Telegram group,
yes,
which means that every month we all together we meet, apart from the bubbling activities that happens on the Telegram group every day.
yes,
So which means that we know that if we have platforms across the globe
yes,
in US that would even offer that for nothing less than $3,000.
yes,
So, but because we are empathetic, we see our audience, we understand that they need to be supported. I mean, for 3 years now, I've been doing crowdfunding to raise money for,
yes,
application fee, passport fee. I write institutions, put my career on the line, which I'm going to mention. But there are quite a whole lot of things that even some
yes,
people, when they buy this masterclass, they'll be like, okay, I just want to connect with Dr. Muyiwa. And I
yes.
just
Dear viewer, thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast. I really appreciate you tuning in. But did you know that only 10% of all the people who watch this podcast are subscribed? So if you're one of those people who are not subscribed, I highly encourage you to subscribe so that you can get notification when I post new podcast and other content on personal finance and investing. In return, I promise you one thing. I will bring in guests from different parts of the world who have different experiences in personal finance, investing, and from different career walks. Now, the goal is to inspire you and to have these people in conversation with me share their experiences so that we can both learn from each other. If you have any questions, you can also put them on the comments so that we can respond to your comments. I hope you enjoy this episode. Have a wonderful time and may the markets be with you. You know, this is very powerful. And I will say that one of the boldest things that I've ever seen you, in my view, doing is writing to academic institutions so that there would be waiver of, the English language scholarship because there are barriers, right?
Of course,
Sometimes,
the barriers.
yes, if you want to come to grad school or undergraduate, you have to write exams, English language exams. So what you have been doing is reaching out to these students and explaining to say, I know in Zimbabwe, the official language is English. All my academic studies, except the native language, we
Mm.
did it in English, right? And
Mhm.
then there's the cost to it if you want to write the English language exams. And also, I think it's unfair because you did your studies in English, right? So that's something that I appreciate. Do you want to highlight some of the institutions that have actually responded favorably to
But
your?
yeah, thank you so much. I think the journey all started 3 years ago. I remember, when I had the conversation, I got tagged on Twitter by one of my followers that was denied admission at University of Harvard, and I was like, no, this is not possible. I mean, Nigeria is an English-speaking country, and that was how the whole struggle started. I mean, I was looking at my list a couple of days ago, and I'd written over 300 institutions.
Yes.
And even some that I wrote 2 years ago, I had to revisit them last week. I
Yes.
wrote over 20 last week, which Princeton that said, oh, we're not going to recognize Nigerian 2 years ago. They just changed their mind. University of Alaska Fairbanks, they changed their mind. Florida State, they just made sure it's pretty clear. So part of those that this achievement has been quite amazing is at University of Alberta, and for them, I still had to reach back to them. If any of their representative is listening to this podcast, I've been on their neck for the past 2 years to also include all the English-speaking African countries like Ghana, like Zimbabwe, like Kenya. Like the English-speaking part of Cameroon. You can't just select a few universities in those countries on your website and you say these are the list of institutions in these countries that are English speakers. So for me, I just feel like it's not fair, especially having your language, your official language, your language of instruction from nursery or kindergarten up to university education in English, and then you're asking us to write the same test again. So I believe it's more than that future of quality possibly is just another way around. And this is just unnecessary barriers, which I feel like if we are committed to fairness, equity, diversity, and inclusion, then we need to break all these unnecessary barriers so that we can give people the equal chance to compete favorably.
Yeah, and just to be clear, like I think those English language exams, they are done for a reason, right? But I think it has to be justified because for
Exactly.
me, if I did all my studies in English and I got a distinction or what is the point of me, in addition to the cost, writing another exam?
Another test, yeah.
Especially for folks coming from the developing countries. To
Country.
have even $200 to write for that exam is a difference between them and poverty. So
Exactly.
I understand the struggle. Now, there are a lot of challenges which potential scholars face. Dr. Igbalajobi, do you mind sharing some of the possible funding sources? I know you have facilitated over 1 billion worth of awards and scholarship, to the scholars. It's big league stuff for sure. What are the options that you would say to the audience who may be listening here?
Thank you so much. This often takes about an hour webinar when I talk about, searching for scholarships. Like there are just a whole lot of scholarships out there. Just this morning, I mentioned the Korean government are inviting about 300,000 international students up till, 2027 through scholarship. Korea is a hub of, opportunities, especially in Asia. In China, you have the Chinese government scholarship, the ANSO scholarship, the UCAS, University of Academy of Science. And so many people do disagree when I tell them there are opportunities even from non-sciences. I might talk a lot about sciences,
For
but
sure.
for CSC, for the Korean government scholarship that I won, there are opportunities for even MBA as well.
Yes.
The MEST scholarship in Japan is currently ongoing. Chevening is ongoing. Chevening allows you to study in the UK without paying a dime. Commonwealth will open later in the year. We have Erasmus that will open also in October. In Germany, we have the DAD. We have quite a whole lot of scholarships in the EU, European Union. Every institution also have their entrance scholarship.
Yes.
So when I tell people when you're looking for scholarship, you don't have an excuse. The first thing you need to do is to even check the institution website, go to their financial aid page to see what they offer. And if you're not really clear about it, get to write the graduate admission committee because they are being paid to answer your questions.
Yes.
So don't just give it out to say, Dr. Olumuyiwa, how can I get funding in CRK? How can I get funding in sociology? You have the Turkish government scholarship. You have, quite a lot. Even in Australia, there are opportunities in Australia. Even in Thailand, even in Sweden, even in Denmark, even in Switzerland, even in Ireland. So there are quite a lot of opportunities out there that you cannot even have an excuse. And that is why we're Scholarships Cafe. Like if you go to our platform today, we update the platform every day.
Yes.
And if you go to the blog section, you will see, okay, fully funded scholarship in education, in management, data, journalism. We have it all in the blog section. But the point is people don't actually use it.
Yes. Unfortunately.
They just want to get fed and then they want to sleep in Zimbabwe or Nigeria and wake up in Canada.
Yes. And I also was saying this, off record to say one of the things that I find to be challenging is sometimes I post, for example, I posted the video that you did on my WhatsApp. And sometimes, and I say, you know what, if you have any questions, go to the scholarship website. There's eligibility, put some effort. Take this as a project. It's your life, not my life. Everybody is busy. It's not like I don't like to help people. But if you are to come to me, to the Scholarship Cafe, come with some specific questions, having done your research. Okay?
Yes.
Everybody is busy, but you have to show that desire that you want to succeed. And if you then say, oh, I've gone on this, but I still don't understand. And like you said, there are people who are paid to answer your question in official capacity. So I find this again and again, and it comes off to some people like, hey, you are being rude. No, I'm not being
rude. No, you're not being rude. The problem I have is more of the entitlement mentality.
Yes.
We all have 24 hours in a day.
Yes.
Right now my DM on Twitter has been open, and I would always say that if you come to me to say, oh, Dr. Olumuyiwa, I'm about to submit this essay. Oh, Dr. Olumuyiwa, I've done this. If you come at the midpoint, I'm able to provide 1 minute conversation with you or 5 minutes, and and it's going to be pro bono.
Yes.
But if you now come to me to say, can you walk me through the step by step? And one thing I just realized lately is that we see a lot of potential prospective scholars that just throw the mentor as a buzzword around. Come and mentor me, come and mentor me. What are you bringing on board for the mentor?
Exactly.
And unfortunately, most of them, once they get a scholarship, you don't even see them again as well.
Yes, and I would say the other time you sounded overwhelmed, like because people were just coming in your DM, like, do this for me, do this for me. And you said, I remember my friend, Dr. Bandauko, whom you know, and we also offered to say, I'm happy to review the, like the statements of purpose. Guess what? I got, I think, about 25 people who inboxed me, and I said I was happy to review. But interestingly, most of the people who reached out, they were from Nigeria, a
Oh,
few
wow.
from Ghana, and one or two from Zimbabwe, right? And what really interested me is one of the people who reached out, actually, fortunately, I haven't been able to meet him. I reviewed, and of course, he then got a scholarship actually, and he came to actually here in British Columbia, right?
Oh,
I mean, it's not necessarily because I reviewed his scholarship, but I think stories like that to say if there is some effort. But from that experience, I realized that here is a call to say there's no excuse. I'm saying I'm available, but I have limited time, right?
right.
To just contribute and volunteer. So most importantly, we are volunteering on these things, right? So this entitlement mentality, sometimes I find it very challenging. So are there any other challenges which you
Yeah,
think scholars
yeah.
find?
For me, I think one of the challenges is being intentional. I've had opportunity like this week that I had a few webinars in Nigeria which the students organized it. I've done this in the past that I wanted to organize it from Scholarships Cafe. You get to see 200 people having to register, and then 3 people show up. I was like, the level of commitment is quite,
Yes,
very, very questionable. And
yes.
also,
Three
I think
people showed up.
three showed up. Yeah, three
Wow.
people showed. Even this week, some institutions that we partnered with their student body, we didn't get more than maybe 60 people. That is an institution that might be more than 10,000 students. So that level of commitment is not there. I totally understand that, everybody wants scholarships, but, you have to be intentional. You have
Yes,
to really be hungry about it. You need to especially be less distracted. I tell people if you cannot use social media to get scholarships, then maybe you're doing the wrong thing on social media platforms. Because if you're on LinkedIn, you see so many scholarships every day. If you're on Twitter, you see professors posting scholarships, announcing that they recently became a professor. And then you begin to see students writing, I'm interested, write me on this. You can send me a message on WhatsApp. So
yes,
I think being intentional, being committed is one thing I realize a lot of people face. And also the second, problem, which could be a challenge, is also
yes,
information overload.
yes,
There are different platforms out there posting scholarship information. There are mixed messages, which we try as much as possible at Scholarship Cafe to ensure that everything we post out there is tested. And that is why we always back it up with evidences.
yes,
So if you say you have a lower degree and some platform already told you can't even make it or get scholarship, we tell you nobody there gives you such, a kind of an
yes,
kind of ascertain that you can either get scholarship or not. So I believe one, commitment. The other part is information overload is there. And also the third part is also, the financial capacity, especially if you want to apply to some institutions that you have to pay the application fee.
yes,
But again, there are also institutions out there that are saying, hey, we do not want you to feel bad because of financial constraint. We can waive this application fee for you.
yes,
But if you are on social media, you are pursuing another agenda, you're the
yes,
one dragging this political party, you're the one
yes,
focusing on their sexual orientation, you will miss those things. We only have 24 hours.
yes,
Another challenge is the fact that people don't really understand how the scholarship terrain works, especially if
yes,
you want to do a research master's or PhD. You need to define your research interest. People
yes,
have research, inexperience, and these are things we're also trying to solve at Scholarships Cafe so that we take you through the journey. Even if you buy a 35 minutes consultation, we
yes.
can highlight some of those gaps that you have and how you can improve on them.
And I will highlight that, something that I've also learned from my experience. It's very important to also learn to pay for some consultations. For example, if I want legal advice, I have to learn to pay.
Yeah,
There's nothing bad about that, but the thing is like I can go for something that I can afford. The same goes to like scholarship, right? The same goes to financial advice. In
right.
this world, that's just the truth. If something that is important to you, I think I encourage people to invest time on that.
Right.
Now, from your experience now, is there anything that you'd like to share with the audience out there? Because do you also get some clients or maybe some scholars from other parts of the world outside of Africa who come to Scholarship Cafe?
Yeah, sure. Like I said, we currently service about 195 countries and even more than other territories. We've had clients from Bangladesh, we've had clients from, also from India, and we have a wonderful student from Finland as well.
Wow.
Margaret is from Tanzania, but she's live all her life in Finland. So what we're saying is like Scholarships Cafe is not just for Africans. Scholarships Cafe is for everybody looking for opportunities out there. Either you're in Canada, either you're in Nigeria, either you're from. I mean, the last masterclass we had in August, we had someone from Namibia.
Yes.
First time I didn't even know because he was like, "Oh, can you please carry me along when it comes to this English proficiency test?" Because some
Yes.
of countries don't even recognize my country as an English speaking country. You
Wow.
know, trying to have those kind of diversified audience and treating their needs one by one makes a whole lot of sense for us. We have another a client from Saudi Arabia that recently bought our consultation, and she will be joining us for the master class.
Yes.
So it's a global village for us,
Yes.
and the essence of the name Scholarships Cafe is that you can virtually access the platform wherever you are in the world.
And something that I find interesting, I'll tell you a story. There's someone, I was profiled at the University of British Columbia as one of the alumni, and one other person reached out to me from Italy, and she was like, Isaac, I saw that you were profiled. I want to come to the University of British Columbia. Can you just comment or review my statement of entry? And I also gave them, my insights. The long story short, she came to Canada. She did her master's at the University of British Columbia. Unfortunately, because of being busy, both of us, we haven't been able to meet. But I share these kind of stories because sometimes, a lot of people are looking for this information.
Right.
And here you have Scholarship Cafe. Here you have every time, you're posting this scholarship. So please put in some time, if you want something, out of, like scholarships, or it's not just the scholarship opportunities that you post. There are also other employment opportunities. There are some institutions, because you have over, I think, even 600,000 followers across your social media. So you have wide reach, employers come to you. So I think it's a good thing to just, follow some of the work that you do. Is there
Thank you.
anything else that you wanted to share with the audience in conclusion?
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, for me, being in the scholarship space has been an amazing journey, and I learn every day. And every day I live to hear stories from my students that need support and identifying those how can I help them to enhance their strengths. Believe everybody possibly deserve to win a scholarship.
Yes.
Scholarship is a leveler, and if you are new in the system, you understand how it is. Like
Yes.
how to win scholarship and you don't have to work and study.
Yes.
You have that time to focus on your studies. And for me, it's been an amazing journey, and looking at Scholarship Cafe in another 5 years as Amazon of educational opportunities that you can get everything that you need. Platform from self-funding to scholarships to opening a bank account to being connected to the body, having to have your housing issue when you get to a new country sorted. So we're building a kind of an ecosystem that everything you need as a student is readily available for you at Scholarships Cafe. And like I said, I'm an advocate of educational access. I will continue to be the advocate. And, I offer my free time, sometimes free consultations,
Yes, for sure.
like sometimes I give 10 free consultations out, which were $350. And, I feel blessed to touch lives. And,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I've invested so much in so many, people out there that, I'm grateful for the opportunity to meet them and impact and in their journey as well. Yeah.
This is very wonderful. I really appreciate your time, Dr. Igbalajobi. I also want to Thank you again for being responsive. I've reached out to you on a couple of initiatives, like when I'm doing research. Thank you so much indeed for being the kind of a person who wants to empower the community, not just the African community, but globally. And I hope to see the Scholarship Cafe, growing even more over the next couple of years. Thank you so much again. And to the audience, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to put some information on the website to the Scholarship Cafe so that if you want to reach out to get some support, please feel free to do so. And I hope you will get the best out of this conversation. And I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. I started this podcast with the goal to share insights on personal finance, investing, and career insights. But did you know that out of all the people who tune in on this podcast, and by the way, I appreciate you, all of you, only 10% are subscribed. So if you are one of those people who are not subscribed, I highly encourage you to subscribe so that when I post content in the future, you get notification, and also this podcast can grow. In return, I will bring in guests from different parts of the world who are successful in their own rights. The goal is to share their personal experiences on personal finance, investing, and also career insights. That way, we can also learn from each other through our conversations. I hope you enjoy yet another podcast at Streetwise Economics. Have a wonderful time and may the markets be with you. Thank you again, dear viewer.